gang, what's up? I don't know why I feel the need to. Every time I post on my crochet page, my Instagram story, I call all the people that follow me gang. I don't know why, I just do. That's what comes out of my mouth when I talk to them. Anyway, in this video, and I will show you here in just a second, we are going to be making, well, I will be making it, you're just along for the ride. But the one and only Miss Coraline Jones, as a commission for one of my coworkers. This, wait, okay, one thing at a time, hold on. Where is she? This is the one I have completely finished. Okay. Can you look at the camera, please? Not off to the side, daydreaming. I think this is super cute. Coraline is honestly not one of my favorite characters. And you'll figure out why in the video, because I say it later on. But I still think that this, just from an art perspective, came out really cute. Especially with the raincoat and the little bag. Now, admittedly, she is supposed to have a hair clip on this side, I think, or this side, because this is mirrored. I think it would be this side. I am not making it. I'm sorry, I'm not making it. I don't want to, because I've already had this commission out for too long, and it's because this is the first time I've ever made this pattern, and I botched the first doll, which is this one. It was going really well until I put the hair on, which I am actually making a last minute change to. Now, I thought about giving him this one for free, but he didn't ask for this one, so I'm not going to give it to him. I was thinking that I might leave this in like a craft store somewhere with a QR code and one of my crochet page pins, like an ink pen, and just let someone take her home for free. That's just a doll. Right now, I was thinking about just giving this one anyway when I finished it, because I was just so grateful to have the hair done. I hate making hair. I don't know why I keep saying yes to commissions that have hair. I hate making it. So I was so happy to have the hair done that I was like, no, it doesn't look that bad. But I was like, no, I have to do what I know is right. And it's only because Coraline has such a distinctive look to her, like not even only just having, you know, like blue hair. It's a very distinct shape. Like a bob, right? This is not that. So I was like, no, I have to start over. I know that this is not what he paid me for. And so I texted him and I was like, hey, I have to start over, because I don't take money for things that I'm not proud of. And so that brought us to the other doll that I showed. Now, I am making two. I'm making one with button eyes, and I'm making one with regular eyes, and that would be this one. These are probably going to get glued down too, because I am not with the little bug horns. What do you mean? What do you mean? So I'm probably going to glue those down too. I think I will. I think I will also have to go invest in another lint roller, because mine is on its last leg. I have no more lint roller sheets left. And so in terms of the second doll, I am on the raincoat for her. That's the last part that I need. Then these dolls are technically done. So I'm projecting them to be done tonight, but realistically tomorrow, because I still have to take pictures for my Instagram. So tomorrow. So I will take them down there to where he works, and he can have them. And I appreciate, if you're watching this, which you might be, I don't know, if I'll actually be brave enough to tell you that I made this video for you to watch. But if you're watching it, I appreciate you being so patient with me, because I was not expecting to botch the pattern the first time around. It's not often that I am, what's the word? Fooled? Honestly, that's probably an accurate word. Bamboozled? That's an even better word. By a pattern. But I was very happy to, very, what's the word? What is the word? It was my pleasure to restart the dolls for you and to do what is right. Apparently now I work at Chick-fil-A. It's my pleasure. Anyway, let's get this one done. The satchel, the crossbody bag, is already done. Literally, the last thing I need is the raincoat, of which I have one sleeve done, and the body part. And we're not quite there yet. We are almost there. Now, when I made the first raincoat, it felt like it took me 15 ever to get it done, because the hood is made in a really, really convoluted way. I got it. I saw the vision. I know I say that later on in the video when I get to making that part. What do you mean you had to go the roundabout way to get there, though? Anyway, let's get started, because I want to get done. I'm so like this close to the end of this project. I want to be done. So let's get started. Or I guess in this case I could say let's get finished. No, let's get started. Okay, probably not gonna film a lot of this doll with the actual eyes, just because I want to focus more on the button eyes doll. But I just want to say, I don't understand why every time I make a doll that has hair, it just goes so horrendously wrong. I follow the pattern. There is supposed to be extra hairs up here to like flip over the bald spot and hide it, but there is only supposed to be 3. And it didn't say in the pattern to skip a stitch between making each strand of hair. Like, I have this extra one here, which honestly I might just work it in and then face having an extra one on the top, but it's okay. Maybe. Hello? Cool. There. Okay. I must confess that I have never actually seen Coraline. At least not all the way through. There's just something about it I don't like, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Although I do know that it's not a Tim Burton movie. There are some people out there who don't know that, which is surprising. Anyway, I'm going to glue all this down. I'm going to figure this out, and I will be back probably with the other doll. Though I do think she's coming out very cute, though. So after the hair is done, all I will have left is to do... I don't know what's going on, honestly. I don't understand anything about crochet, apparently, but this is where I'm at. I don't know why the hair came out so long. Coraline's hair is not this long, and I don't know what's going on because I followed the pattern, as I always do. And I don't know what to do with these. Where do these go? I already have so many hairs overlapping, which they were supposed to, because they were meant to hide the part where the head, like the hair starts in the magic circle, or magic ring, what have you. I think what I'm going to do is very carefully, I'm going to cut these at the end. I'm going to unravel them very carefully. I'm going to tie them in a knot. I'm going to tuck them in the head. And it just won't matter because nobody will know except for me, because I doubt anybody's actually going to watch this video. My views are very low, and that's okay too. But Miss Coraline is about to catch some hands because her hair is doing... At this point, she's reminding me of those dolls, you know, like the Lala Loopsy dolls. I had one of those because I wanted it so badly. My parents bought it for me. Then I hated it because I couldn't do anything with it, and it went to Goodwill. So that's what she's reminding me of right now with this. I wish that there was a way to shorten these. Unfortunately, there's not. I mean, I could go back and sew them up on themselves, but that would just look stupid. So I won't be doing that, but I am going to fix this, and then after that, I mean, I glued this earlier. I probably could take all these pins out at this point. So I think I will do that, actually. I'll be back. I can't say that I wasn't nervous that my plan here was not going to work out, but it did. I very, very carefully unraveled those 2 pieces of hair like I said I was going to. And then I tied them off and tucked them into the head. I can't really bend her because she has a wooden skewer in her neck to keep her from being a bobblehead. Okay, but I will show you or I'll try to, that these two hairs, this one and this one, were brought over to hide, like I said, the magic ring where the hair started. And so there was some space between this one and the next one, so I just pulled the edges of them over and glued them again to add like extra coverage to that area. So her hair is done. Honestly, the longer hair is kind of growing on me. I think part of the reason I don't like making characters with hair is just because I don't like the way it looks half the time. But I think this is growing on me. So today I just have to make the raincoat. And I have to make her little satchel. And then this one is done. This doll is done. And then I get to make it all over again. Which it should go pretty fast because this one is done. And then for the other one, obviously the second one's gonna have button eyes. So I went to Walmart, and I don't like how they rearranged the entire store. I can't find anything anymore. But I managed to find these. These are 19mm buttons. Black 4-hole buttons. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, hold on just a second. That's better. I had to clean my camera because it had fingerprints on it. Okay, anyway, as I was saying, I am just not satisfied with this, and this is a commission, so I did take money for these. I do not accept money for things that I am not proud of. So this I'm gonna keep, and I am gonna lock in, and I'm gonna remake this doll. I'm gonna shorten the strands of hair. These are each 26 strands, or sorry, stitches. I think I'm gonna shorten them to 20. That would take off about this much of it. But when you're making hair, the strand already shrinks as it is because the stitches tighten everything up. So in reality, taking off this many stitches is actually going to shorten it about this much. And so it'll be a much shorter version of a bob, like it's supposed to be if you've seen Coraline, right? So this is, I'm going to keep this. I might sell it at some point to somebody else, but for this project, I'm going to remake her again. And I'm glad that I went out and bought more brown safety eyes because this was my last pair of them. So I have to lock in. So let's get started. So the first thing we have to start with is the feet, which means I have to actually pull up the pattern. It's on my laptop right here. Just a second. You know, I'm actually surprised for, like, I mean, she's cute, don't get me wrong, but I'm surprised that this pattern was free. I was not expecting to find a free Coraline pattern that did not make her look like a potato. This pattern is actually really good. If you follow all of the details of, like, everything that the face is supposed to have, she's supposed to have, like, false lashes, ones that, like, women would wear, and no, I'm not doing that because I'm not going to risk them falling off. So I just sewed some on, and I think it looks just fine. You know? If my laptop was not an archaic potato as well, I already have the pattern open. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see. Also, this pattern is by somebody that speaks, like, Spanish is their first language. So I'm surprised that it was even an English PDF version. That's awesome. This is by Geraldine. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that, that's in Spanish. Anyway, this is a free pattern made by @calypso.boutique with 2 E's. That's what it says on the pattern. And I think she probably has an Instagram. Every time I find a pattern that is by someone I don't follow, I find them on Instagram and make sure to give them a follow. I think that's just the right thing to do. Especially considering I tag them in all of my descriptions. And I always tag the artist, in all of my YouTube descriptions. I think I just said that, but I also do it in my Instagram posts. I've actually had a few creators reach out to me a few times and say that they were really happy to see someone had made their pattern. Okay, I think I'm going to start with the arms like I did last time just because So the way that this was made is I make the arms first because they're worked right into the body. Some patterns have it where it's worked into the body, some have it where you close off the arms and make them flat, and then just sew them on after. So you make the arms first, then you make the feet, which these are technically her boots, right? Then you make the legs, both legs, and then you connect them and make the body. Then when you get to here, obviously you work in the arms. This, all of this, is technically one piece except for the hair. So then you go into making the neck and then into the head. Right? Some patterns have it where everything is a separate piece. Like, you'll make the body, and then you'll finish off the piece, and then you'll make the head, and then you'll sew the head on. Those patterns are okay, but I love when a pattern is just all one continuous piece, even if you have to do color changes. That's awesome. So, let's get started. I know I already said that, but now we're actually gonna get started, okay? I am happy with the size that she came out as, so I used my naked 2.5 hook. I think we're just gonna continue with the 2.5 hook. Yeah? Okay, so. And the arms don't take that much skin color, so I should have enough to make both arms and both of the heads. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Is this my first day on earth crocheting? I think so. Actually, I think I've told the story of how I started crocheting in the first place, but I'll tell it again just for funsies. There was one year my sister said she wanted to learn how to crochet, so I went out for Christmas and I bought her some, which I think was my first mistake. I didn't know anything about crocheting at the time, so I bought her like cheap plastic hooks from Walmart. Do not get plastic hooks and then use acrylic yarn. That's plastic on plastic, and the yarn will stick to your hook really badly. And that's extremely annoying. Do I know how to count to 6? I think so. 6 right now, okay. I prefer metal hooks. There's wooden hooks, there's bamboo hooks, which I'm sure bamboo still counts as wood, but I digress. And once she realized that it wasn't just as easy as picking it up and doing it, right, like it actually had to be learned, this is a skill that has to be cultivated, she was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was like, okay, well, since I bought it, and I don't like to waste money, you can let me try. And so I looked up some YouTube tutorials, and I started with hats and scarves so I could get the basics, and then I was like, this is boring, so I moved on to, it's called amigurumi. That's the Japanese word for what, like dolls, like doll making. And my first bear was terrifying. I wish I had a picture of it to show. It was made out of purple yarn, and it had brown and white speckled button eyes, but the hook that I was using was too big for the yarn. And the stuffing that I was using was like brown polyfill out of a pillow that came with our couch set that my mom didn't wash. Like, I don't care if you use it. Oh, it's going to a good cause. And do I have, okay, I have to have 8 stitches. I think I have 9. Hold on. 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, no, I have 8. Okay, that doesn't count because that's technically where my last stitch is at. And so I was like, okay, maybe I'm not ready to make plushies quite yet. So I took it apart, and I was like, let me just try hats and scarves again. Then, oh, this bobby pin, that's what this is only used for crochet. Okay, it's never used for hair. I just like it because this part is so flat. Trying to work around like the bulb shape stitch markers is so awkward. And for me, it always leaves a hole in my work, and I'm just not about that. We don't want no holy amigurumi. Anyway, my first bear was terrifying, but it only got better from there. If you go to my Instagram and scroll down really far, you can see the progression of my stuff getting worse in quality, because obviously you're going back in time. But everybody always is like, wow, your work is so neat, like you do such a good job. And I'm like, thank you. I mean, thank you, yeah, obviously, I genuinely thank you, but like, of course I'm gonna do a good job. This is my hobby. I'm not just gonna, you know, slap it together and call it good enough. Anyway, oh, I hope I have enough pink I might have to get a different shade of pink out because I didn't have very much of that when I... Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough for both arms and the bodies again. I think I'll just get out a different pink to be safe. Because I want both the dolls to look the same, at least the body. You know. What I wish there was a way to do, which is not possible with amigurumi, is to make like an interchangeable like faceplate. That would have been really cool. Okay, at this step we're going to do a color change. First, I'm going to scoot my camera out a little bit so I can reach my pause button. Okay, I can't tell if this is going to be enough or not. This is the other color that I was using. I think I'm just being paranoid. Like, this is a lot of yarn for what I need it for. I'm just a little paranoid, like I said. I'm going to attempt with this, and if it doesn't work, I'll just undo it. And we'll come back to this other bright neon pink. Okay, I'll be back when the arms are done. Well, it's only about an hour later now, and I finally have all 4 arms done. Not that these took me an hour, it's because I kept getting a little distracted. Now, I did have enough pink for all 4 arms. I'm afraid to look at how much I might have left for the bodies. I'm just gonna bet it's enough, fingers crossed. But if it's not, I will do my best to find a shade of pink close to it, because I know I said that I would undo these and redo them if I didn't have enough pink. I will not be doing that. I rescind that statement. That was a fib. A misspeaking. I will not be undoing these because I am now putting myself on a time crunch to get these done because I've already been given the majority of the money that I asked for these dolls to be made. And it already took me way longer than it should have to just make this one because I was slacking. So, I'm setting the goal of myself today to get to at least both of the bodies done up to the neck in this one sitting. So next I'm gonna make, oh, excuse you, no, we're not playing Red Dead Redemption right now. Stay. Okay. To make both, I don't know how I'm gonna make all 4 feet because like so you're supposed to make one leg and then cut the yarn, and then make the second leg and not cut the yarn, and then connect them. So what I would have to do is make one leg, make the other, connect them. Pause on that body, make one leg, make the other, connect them, and then just have both starts of both bodies. I think that's what I'm going to do. That's just going to make it the easiest for me, and I want to get these done. The coworker I'm making them for is one of my favorites to work with, so I'm more than happy to do this for him. So, don't worry, I'm working on it. Now, making the heel, or I guess this would technically be the sole of the boot, is supposed to be back loops only, but I am not a back loops only kind of girl, so I will not be doing that. I will be doing reverse single crochet, and if you don't crochet, you're gonna have no idea what that means, and that's okay. So I'll show you after I tie this off. Actually, I'll do that at the end. Typically, to make the sole of something or the bottom of an item, you would work in the back loops. Brown is probably the worst color to show this on. Hold on. Okay, look at this. You see how this is one stitch. These 2 loops together are one stitch, okay? This part right here is the back loop. This other one, this other one is the front loop. To make the bottom, you would work in back loops only. And then as you progress your work, it kind of forces the work to turn upwards and makes a bottom, a more seamless bottom. But, and I like this method, reverse single crochet is working single crochet but from the back, or working around the post, which is like the part of the chain that gives it height. So if I was working, I would have to show you. Let's see. if I was to chain one, and let's say on this stitch I was going to work a double crochet, the height of this stitch is called the post. Single crochet has them too, which are these other stitches, the smaller ones, but they are just harder to see because the stitches are so much smaller. So reverse single crochet is working around the post of single crochet, but it also, like I said, let me show you on this one that I already have it done on. It forces, I know you can kind of see it through the bottom, that's not the point. The point is that it turns these stitches down so that it looks like, it becomes like, I don't know how to describe it, you just have to look at it. It turns it into, I don't know, it achieves the same goal, but I just think that this looks a little neater in terms of having a clearer color change. Because it forces what would be the top of the stitch, it forces it downward. And it just gives it, overall, I think, a neater appearance. I don't know. You could disagree if you want, I suppose, but I think this is neater. So this is the method. I mean, back loops only is nothing wrong with it, don't get me wrong. But the whole point of arts and crafts is to evolve your skills. That's really my ick. I don't have a lot of icks, but one of them I do have is people in the fiber arts community who do not want to progress their skills. And so they stay at a beginner level forever, and all of the patterns, the free patterns, or even patterns that cost money, become beginner friendly because nobody wants to progress their skills past, you know, into intermediate, into advanced, which forces the rest of us who are advanced crocheters to either have to dig into the recesses of the internet to find good patterns, or just write our own, which is not that difficult, but writing patterns is all kinds of annoying. So, like, I'm writing one right now for Huggy Wuggy. I haven't gotten very far. I showed this in one of the other videos that I made. This is as far as I've gotten on his head. And I started with the head because his body is proportionate to his head, so if I make this first, and his head is really weird shaped. It's like an elongated rhombus or trapezoid. I think trapezoid is the right shape. But if I make his head first, everything should be a little easier to make because it's, like I said, it's in proportion with his head. So I'm gonna make the legs, and then that is when I will be back. Oh, hold on. I said I would tie this off at the end. Let me do that before I forget. I really don't think my work would ever come apart, but I'm also not willing to risk it. So, there. So these legs are joined, and I was gonna pause here to start the second set of legs until I realized that I need the blue yarn and it's still attached. So I think what I'm gonna do, I mean, I could use the other end of the cake of yarn, you know, but that's just how it ends up getting tangled together, and I don't have time to be untangling yarn right now. So I think I'm gonna work it up to the point of where I would change colors for the shirt or the sweater, and then I will start the other legs. Also, what? Look at the size. Well, you can't really see. There's like a slight size difference. yeah, I'm just glad I started over because it's going so much more smoothly. This is a pattern I've never worked before. Definitely some trial and error went on. Well, I didn't get as far as I said I would today. I am going to work up the second pair of legs to the same spot that this one is, and then I think I'm done for the night. I've been doing this for like 6 hours today. I'm tired of looking at this. I'm going to try to do both the bodies and the heads tomorrow, and then the hair is probably going to be the most tedious, and then the raincoat will be no problem in the little satchel bag. Easy, and then they'll be done. So, I guess I'll just keep working then. So the time has come on the first one to put in the eyes. I think for this one, I want to make this one the button eyes one. And so I've already marked off the center of the head. And the eyes are supposed to be 10 spaces apart. But I think before I put these on, because putting them on is going to make it a little hard to work into this row, because I still have to build the head up a little taller, I'm going to mark where they're going to go. I'm going to add the last 3 rounds to build up the height of the head before I start to close it off, and then I'm going to put the eyes on. So this is the center stitch between these 2 pins here. So I'm going to count 5 from each side, which might be a little bit bigger than 10, but because these eyes are bigger than the safety eyes that I was using, that's what these are called, safety eyes. These are 15 millimeters. These are 19. I'm pretty sure I already said that, but I'm not sure. So it's gonna work out if they're a little further apart because these are bigger than the safety eyes. So that's where the buttons are gonna go. Oh, excuse you, get back in there. So when I finish the head, the height of the head, I will come back and put them on. Now that I have to take my phone case off to record, my phone doesn't want to stay where I normally put it, so it keeps falling out and hitting my desk. Also, would you like some bird feathers? Because my birds have been preening, and so they keep dropping these all over my room. Anyway, I don't know what to do with these. I do keep the feathers that they drop, the nice ones, in a jar in my closet, because they won't live forever. So, now that we're all sad, let's get back to the doll. Idealistically, for these, I would have liked to use black embroidery floss. I don't have any. I don't know why every time I go to Hobby Lobby, which is quite frequently, I don't just buy some, because when I have the money, I'm at Hobby Lobby like 2 or 3 times a week. In fact, I'm probably going to be over there tomorrow, because after I get off of work, I plan on going to get a burger from The Habit. Where are my scissors? Why are these tied so weird? I don't want all 4 of them to come off if I cut one of these strings. You know, this is the first commission that I've gotten all year. And you know, I think that there's a lot of people who would be kind of irritated by that, because a lot of people think that crochet is a job or should be a career. And you know what? I would probably agree if there was like one village old lady that did the crocheting, and you know, there was only one person that did it. But now that it seems like everybody learned during COVID, because we had nothing better to do than be stuck in our houses, it's a commodity that is not so like out of demand. Or that's not the right word. Or phrase. It is not like it's common, so it's lost its value, right? Everybody can crochet. Like in Ratatouille, everybody can cook, which is great, honestly. I think, you know, like one of the reasons that they encourage old people in old folks' homes to do puzzles is not because they just want to keep them occupied. Like, that's part of the reason, but it's because learning new skills and like cultivating them and developing them over a long extended time is actually what keeps you from developing dementia and Alzheimer's, because your brain it has to like make or connect more neurons to be able to retain the skills. So that's why they tell old people to do hobbies. Oh yeah, I guess you'd call them hobbies. To do puzzles and that kind of stuff. I don't know how I'm going to put this here with my pen in the way, though. That is a good question. I think what I'm going to do is just do this. Hold it like that till I sew it on there. Anyway, that's why they encourage old people to do those types of things, is to keep them from... Well, at that age, they might already have dementia, which is unfortunate. That's horrible. But it's to help them to slow down the progression of it. But it's also just to help them pass the time, because once they go into a home, they're pretty much stuck there, you know? Hello, where's my buttonhole at? Wasn't I talking about Lala Loopsy dolls at the beginning of the video? This is still reminding me of one of those. Don't they have button eyes too? It's been a long time since I had one of those. Like, back in 2012. When I was 12. Because I was born in 2000. That feels like a lifetime ago. I already have the feeling that this video is going to be another one of the long form ones. Which, I like long form content. That's why I make my videos so long. Also because I like to talk. You know, I don't always like to sit through a video and the only thing that plays is music. Yes, thank you. I like, Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, but not 30 minutes of it while I watch a tutorial for something. Although, I think it just depends. If it is a tutorial video, no, I don't know. Because I'm one of those, I'm a visual learner. I have to watch something be done to learn it. So, sometimes being told verbal instructions while watching it makes it easier for me to learn. But I guess it just comes down to preference. So that's one. And it's going to be the same process for the other one. Now, I will tell you why I wanted to use embroidery floss is because sometimes, depending on what kind of yarn you're using, it over time relaxes and things start to stretch out. I don't know if that's just the case with like acrylic yarn, which is what this is, and acrylic yarn is just plastic, which is why so many people in the fiber arts community don't like it. I don't know if that would happen so much with like a natural fiber yarn. I did have sewing thread I could have used, but I don't know if that would have been sturdy enough to keep it on. But the person that is receiving these, I don't know if they're for him, like one for him and one for his children, or both for his children, but I do know that his children are not like little kids, so these shouldn't be too like roughhoused with, because I don't really make things for children. The things that I make might be children's characters, but the things that I make are for adults, or like for display, right? Like my Mario Brothers set that I entered in the fair last year, I'm so glad that I sold that to an adult for display, because I mean, I can't control what happens to them once they're sold. That's not up to me anymore. Excuse me? Get off. But I would really be kind of peeved if I did all that hard work just for them to be treated like toys. Right? If somebody asked me to make something for a kid, I don't know. I guess it depends on what it is. But I might be hard-pressed to say no. Because these are not toys. Just because they're plushies. Right? Like, anything handmade really can't be mass-produced. Especially crochet. Anything you see that's made, that's crocheted, is handmade. You cannot machine replicate crochet items. So if you ever see something in a store that's crocheted, it was made by somebody in a sweatshop. Probably in some third world country. Or if you see, and I'll put a picture of something like that on the screen. I saw these at Hobby Lobby. Now, Hobby Lobby does sell crochet things. And when I first saw that, it made me so mad. Because I love Hobby Lobby. And they're Christian owned, and that's part of the reason why I love them, because I'm a Christian. And I love that when every time what they believe comes under fire, they stand 10 toes down on business. And they're like, no, this is what we believe, and if you don't like it, don't shop here. I love that. So when I saw these, I presumed slave labor, I can't even speak, slave labor produced items, I was like, no, that can't be right, because Christianity is fundamentally anti-slave. Slavery, right? Make sure these are even. If they're not even, I might cry a little. Okay. Anyway, so I did some research and I looked into Hobby Lobby's, like, because they do bring in things from overseas, and I was like, there's no way Hobby Lobby is participating in the slave trade. And I was right, because the factories that they partner with overseas, they enforce codes in those factories that everybody that works in that factory must be voluntarily hired. And so they're not slaves. They're hired voluntarily and they're paid wages. And I'm like, oh, that's so, what a relief, because I would hate to have to stop shopping at Hobby Lobby, because that's one of 3 craft stores that we have here. For Joanne. No, also, this is like a bobblehead because her head is so fat which I don't know what the deal is. This one's head came out so much bigger than this one. Okay, on to... Honestly, I don't want to do this anymore tonight, so I can't say that I am going to keep working. Also, I didn't finish what I was saying. That her head came out bigger than the other one, but I counted the stitches and I have exactly 60, which is what the pattern says. So this is proportionate. The other one is just... like, it's proportionate as well, but the doll, I think, is smaller. Or sometimes if the yarn is thinner, it'll make the piece smaller as well. But when this one is done and the head is all stuff and stuff, before I put the hair on, I'm going to put a skewer in the neck, and that a wooden skewer, like a barbecue skewer. This is actually what's left of the one that I put in the first doll. And it's just going to stabilize the head so it's not, you know, flip-flopping about. But this one, I would say, is about half. I would call this the halfway point, because then I just have to close the head and make the hair, of course, and that's very tedious, but it's fine. Because I'm making the strand smaller, it'll take less time. And then when she has button eyes, she only has, like, for face details. Oh, I need to give her a nose too, but I'll do that after I stuff the head. She does not have eyelashes when she's like this in the button form. She only has eyebrows, so that'll be one less thing I have to do. But I do think that I am done with this for tonight. Tomorrow when I come home from work, I will... What time is it? Oh, it's 8:30. Yeah, I think tomorrow when I come home from work, I'll pick this up again. Okay, I fibbed. I wanted to do more tonight because tomorrow I plan on starting a new video game, and I can't say that I will get to this tomorrow. At least not a lot of it if I don't do it tonight. So I'm gonna do her eyebrows. I finished, obviously, the head. I put the skewer in so she's not a bobblehead anymore. I'm really debating on if I want to do, it's called face shaping, where you just kind of indent the eyes. I would normally if the character had regular eyes, but I think for the look that Coraline has, that the more sunken eye look is just not for her. So I'm not going to. So let me just give her the nose while we're already here. Where are my pins? I don't know why I said that like I didn't know where they were, like they're not always in the same spot they're always in. So looking at these button eyes is throwing me off. I'm not used to seeing button eyes, I'm used to seeing plastic safety eyes. Anyway, I will say now that well, maybe in the future, not so much now that I'm making this, because this pattern for me so far has been a lot of undoing, redoing, counting, undoing, counting, redoing. That a lot over and over and over kind of like sucks the fun out of any pattern. So, I mean, I'm enjoying making these. Don't get me wrong, just because of who they're for is, you know, is worth it. Should I give her a bigger nose? It's only 3 stitches. No, I think it's alright. But I think in the future, if I come back to this, then I might have a little more fun with it, being away from it for a while, then coming back to it. Now, I will say, I am getting about that time again where I have the itch to learn something new. I've already kind of gotten, I'm speaking proper English, I've already kind of gotten back into, like, pony beads, making, like, keychains and stuff. But that's not going so smoothly. I mean, it's alright in terms of, like, making them is fun and fine. I can't decide which type of medium I want to use to attach the beads. I've tried elastic cord, I've tried yarn. I think that's it so far. I want to try, oh, and I've tried like elastic, like jewelry, like bracelet kind of elastic. I wouldn't call it string, I guess is the right word. I wouldn't call it thread. I want to try Rex lacing, which is like the flat keychain lace that you make, like, I'm not going to try to describe. I'll just put a picture right here. You make these out of, that stuff's called Rex lacing, I think. I want to try that. And then I also want to try, apparently the brand of beads that they sell at Hobby Lobby makes a beading, like pony bead thread or whatever they call it. So I'm going to maybe go over there tomorrow and look for it. It looks to be like some sort of hollow, like a straw, but like flimsy and like flexible. It looks like to be hollow tubing. I would have to show it to you. Describing it probably didn't really make any sense. But, okay, let me get out the brown yarn for her eyebrows. Now, I have to get to work early tomorrow, so I can't stay up too late. Which is dumb, because if I get in bed, I won't be able to sleep anyway, so I might as well just stay up. Because I'm going to set an alarm to make sure I get there on time. Sorry, I have to see what's going on, too. I think that should be okay. Or should I go up? Should I go up there? No, do it right here. Because I don't want her hair to come down so far that it gets in the way. I forgot what I was saying. I know what that it had to do with me going to work and not being able to stay up late. Oh, and not being able to sleep because, yeah. So I might as well just stay up. That's what I was saying. Because I'm going to set an alarm to get there on time, and I'm going to be so anxious that I'm going to miss my alarm because I'm not a morning person and I don't make it a habit of getting up in the morning, that I won't be able to sleep anyway. Okay, let me just throw my needle in the floor while I'm at it. Let me get a longer, no, I don't know. I was going to get a longer needle, but this one should be okay. So, by the way, speaking of crochet things, the fair, the county fair is on its way. It is fast approaching. And last year I entered and I won 2 ribbons for my crochet stuff. So I'm thinking that I'm going to enter again this year, because why not? Hold on, I'm trying to decide which stitch I want now that I moved my stitch marker. I think that one. The theme of the, like, contest, if you're gonna enter, is America, since America turned 250 years old this year. That's awesome. So I was thinking of finding a cute crochet eagle pattern and making a flag to wear, like, as a cape of sorts, and making that my entry. And I wasn't expecting a cash prize for entering, because I thought cash prizes were only for like the baked goods kind of stuff, you know? And then in October, I got a check in the mail. Now, granted, it was only for $25, but that's $25 I didn't have, so I took it to the bank and cashed it in. Actually, I remember they sent it to me October 30th, and I was annoyed because downtown was blocked off, barricaded, because right next to where the bank I go to is our police station, and the police were throwing an event, like a safe Halloween event for the kids, which I thought was cool once I realized why all the roads were blocked off. I was like, why is there so much traffic? Get out of my way. Until I realized what they were doing. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, like, it's during the day, right? So it was definitely safer to be out than it would have been to be out at night. So I basically had to go around the entire block and do a loop-de-loop to get back to the bank. It's okay. I got it though. So I don't know if it's $25 if you win first place per entry. I don't know if it's because I won also best of division, and if you win best of division per entry. I don't even know what the requirements were, because I wasn't, like I said, expecting a cash prize. But I do think I'm going to enter again just because it was fun. Now, what I wish that they wouldn't do is let people enter the same entry year after year after year after year after year to consistently get first place ribbons. It should have to be a different entry each year, right? Because I'm sure that there's some exhibits that, like, I used to go to the fair every year with my Nana before she moved away. And every year, she didn't like to ride the rides, so we would walk through the exhibit buildings, which is fine because I didn't either. We would walk through all the exhibit buildings and then go see the animals, because I had some, like, family that shows cows. And every year was the same exhibits. And I enjoyed it, of course, because it was just spending time with my Nana. But now that I'm older, that's not fair to people who want to enter. Like, okay, I've talked about this before. The only reason I even entered in the fair was because a couple years prior we had went, my family, because my sister had entered some stuff through her pottery class that she was in high school, and so we were there and we went through the exhibit buildings like I used to with my Nana, because that's what my mom likes to do when we're there too. And I saw this ugly, derpy looking, frightening crochet Eeyore that looked like it had jumped out of a garbage disposal. No offense, like, okay, well, maybe a little bit of offense to the person that made it. Because the lady told me that the guy that made it had just learned how to crochet, and I was like to myself, no offense, lady, I can tell. And so I was gonna enter the next year, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it, because I know I'm doing it with the wrong heart position, the wrong attitude of like, oh, I'm gonna show him up and I'm gonna win first place. And I was like, no, that's not the right attitude to enter with, because if I don't win first place, I'm gonna be mad and I'm gonna be upset. So I didn't enter, and that was 2024. Yeah, and I entered last year. So I entered last year when I had a different heart position, and I was just like, I just want to do it just for the sake of doing it and see what happens. Plus it gives me an excuse to go to the fair, because they don't tell you if you've won anything until you go see it in the exhibit or go to pick up your stuff at the end. And so I was there with my friend, and I was like, now, oh, I'm not going to say her name, I almost did. Friend, insert friend name. This is done for tonight, by the way. We're just going to go look, we're going to have fun. This is your day off from work, you work yourself ragged. We're just going to go look and have fun. Walk around. We went into the exhibit building to see where my stuff is, or was, and I had to talk to one of the older ladies that was there working the booths, because I couldn't find it for the life of me. So I asked her, like, do you know have you seen a crochet set of stuff that is like Mario Brother themed? And she was like, oh, we have some stuff that way, and we have some stuff over there. And so I turned to see where she was pointing, and I saw my stuff. And then I saw the ribbon, and I almost jumped in exuberation. I don't even think that's a word. It is now. I was so elated. I told my friend, like, oh my gosh, is that a ribbon? Am I seeing things? And she's like, no, Larissa, there's two. And so she went over first, because I was still talking to that lady. And the blue one was first place, and the purple one was best in division. I was so happy. And so then when I went to pick them up after the fair was over, I gave the lady my name and what I had made, because they bagged them all into trash bags for us so we could bring them home, which I was mildly surprised. I had brought this huge Hobby Lobby shopping bag just so I could have something to carry me, because there was like 7 or 8 pieces to the set. I'll put a picture of it if I can find one right here. And the lady was like, oh, you're the one that made those? Everybody loved them. And I was like, if that's the case, you can buy them. I did actually end up selling them afterwards. I sold them for $300, so that's pretty cool. Will I ever make another Mario Brothers set? Probably not. No. So much work went into making those. I don't think I have a picture of the complete set because I had already made some prior, so I'll put pictures of what I did take here. Just the pictures that are here are not those set that I sold. The set that I sold had way more to it, but these are what they looked like, the pieces that are here. And I do plan, though, because the lady that wrote the patterns released a pattern for Donkey Kong, so I do plan to make that pattern just for the sake of making it. So, thank you for listening to me yap. I'm done for tonight. I have to go to bed soon. I am sad. So, we are back on the home stretch. Finally. It is time to put the eyes in this doll. I meant to measure where I was going to put them before I started recording, and then as you can see, I did not do that. So I guess we'll do it together. This, I'm going to use, this is an eye clamper, eye snapper, whatever. It does exactly what it says it does. Squeezes the eyes in place. I don't really need it for these eyes in particular. These backs are usually pretty easy to get on, but I have it, so I'm gonna use it. Should I give her reptile cat eyes? Wait, are these cat eyes or reptiles? Oh, these are just yellow animal eyes. Just kidding. I wouldn't do that to her. Okay, so the same as before. I don't know why I'm waiting so late in the day to work on this. Like, I could have had this done today, I'm not gonna lie. I just didn't. I went to the dog shelter today. Actually, I went to both of them and picked out a dog since mine that I've had since I was like 14 died earlier this year, and I'm kind of lonely. So, I picked out a dog. I'm getting a new friend. Oh, I don't know. I don't need that gigantic knitting needle. So actually, yeah, I'll find the space for them, and then I'll come back. I'll be right back. So I was wondering if I should do when I made the first one that I didn't like. Should I just do plain black safety eyes? Because most dolls have, these are 15mm plastic safety eyes. Or should I do brown? Because Coraline, Miss Coraline Jones, has brown eyes. And so I settled on the brown eyes. Like I said, I'm glad I went out and bought more, because the pair on the other doll was my last pair. So, I need something to, oh, excuse me, I'm tired. It is quite late, actually. I need something to stretch out this with. I'm going to use this gigantic knitting needle. I don't know why people recommend these to start learning how to knit on. These are so clunky. I don't know when you would ever use these for, except for maybe like a blanket. This thing is like, I can't even fit it in one frame how long it is. If you're ever going to look into starting to knit, I recommend using cable needles. They will save your hide. Oh. Okay. Because of how close this is to the top of where I need to work my next stitches, I'm not going to put the backs on quite yet. I'll work around to this point and then I'll put the backs on. Do I really want to do that right now? I'm tired. I want to go to bed. Oh no, I'll just put the backs on and make it work, and you won't even be able to tell unless you watch the video. Right? Right. Oh. Okay. You know how I was saying I've never seen Coraline all the way through? That's true. I've just never had an interest in watching it. But I do think that if I sat down and watched it from beginning to end, I'm pretty sure I would like it. I just haven't, because I don't know. So, I broke this trying to squeeze on a pair of eyes the other day. So typically you put these on and pull them so they snap into place. This is made for, I like this. Actually, I got this for Christmas a couple years ago, because you can take out this piece and make this hole bigger or smaller for different sized eyes. Because some eyes, like, let's see, do I have a pair of them? These, like the circle back, sorry, you'd like to see, the circle back ones, the bowls, these are hard to get on. I don't know what the deal is with these. It's just the way that they're designed. It's designed to give the eyes a more, like, seamless look with the face. When they're pushed all the way in, it creates like a crater for the eye to sit in. So instead of how these would like poke out from the face, these would sit more flush with whatever it is that you're making. But the backs are next to dang near impossible to get on. So this is helpful for that. Oh, okay, yeah. That might have not been a good idea. These are also impossible to get off once you put them on, unless you cut them off, and then they're just wasted because you can't reuse them. Oh, excuse me. That's okay. I can just pull up the stitches from behind to get my hook in there. I'm not using a very big hook, so it shouldn't be that big of a problem. Now, I can't say that I'm probably not going to work on this anymore tonight because it is actually bedtime. I can't say I'll get to working, like closing the head and doing all the face details tonight because, like I said, it is quite late. But I will do it tomorrow. And then after I close off this head and do the face details, which I will record, I have to make both of the hair, both of the raincoats, and both of the like satchel kind of crossbody bags that she comes with. And I think she's supposed to have a clip of sorts in her hair, like a flower, a barrette thing on the right side. So I guess I'll make a little flower to go on her hair. Although that might not be part of the pattern. But it's not that hard to make a flower, so I'll figure it out. So apparently I'm going to have to hit the grind on these because quite frankly, I'm a little tired of looking at them. Has nothing to do with the pattern itself or anything to do with the person I'm making them for. There's just a threshold I reach with each project where I'm tired of looking at it. And I either want it done or I take it apart and give up. And I have reached that point with these, I think. Because, and it's not my own fault, it's because I won't work on them consistently. Yeah, it's my own fault. But I'm going to show you why they call this closure. It's called the ultimate finish, but I kind of like the magic closure. I don't know, whatever. I just feel like it deserves a better name than that. I guess I'll move my keyboard this time. Hold on. And put it where? I don't know. That's a good question. So, you don't need very much yarn to do this. And this doesn't have a skewer yet, so I can actually show you. And this is the one that's going to get all the face details, by the way. Since it has the actual eyes. I'm pretty sure I said that when I was recording last night. But, so you just go in the front loops. Or I guess these would technically be the back loops of each one. So when you pull it together at the end, it brings it all together. I guess you could call this like the inversion of a magic circle. I don't know, somehow that makes sense in my brain. Oh, I didn't start my video game yet, by the way. I intended to, and then I didn't. But it's going to be the remake of Resident Evil 4. So when you get done with that, pull it. Not as tight as you can because the yarn will probably snap, but... And then it's closed, and then you can just tie it off. And in this case, it doesn't really have to be the most secure because I'm going to be gluing hair over it. Maybe. So just one knot should be okay for now. And then, oh, well, maybe not. I was gonna say you could just hide your tail, but apparently not. Put this. This is completely unrelated to what's going on in the video, but I cannot cope with it being hot in my room and also hot outside. There is no escape. I could always go get in the pool, but I don't want to do that, or I would. You know how some people say they get seasonal depression in the winter? I get that in the summer, but it's seasonal aggression. Don't talk to me when I'm hot or sweaty. I'm irritable. Because, ew. Okay, we're going to do the face details now. I might zoom in just a little bit. I wanted to do this part when, or like before I closed the head, but I didn't, because sometimes when you do it prematurely, because it's strung between the eyes, it distorts the way the face looks a little. And I didn't want to have a distorted face for my character. Or, it's not my character, my doll, I guess I could say, right? Maybe. Let me get a longer needle. Hold on. Oh, yeah, that'll work, I guess. Maybe. You'd like to see too, right? I think after this, if I plan on entering any work in the fair this year, I'm going to have to get started because we're already in August. The theme of the fair this year for anybody entering craft items is America, because America turned... I think I already said all of this. I'm filming in fragments. I don't usually ever sit down and just film all the way through because these projects take longer than what would be manageable to do that. So if I repeat myself ever in any video, I'm sorry. I'm gonna not sew these down like I normally do. I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on each side and glue them. But I will do that after. Because first I want to do the eyebrows. I thought I got out my... Oh, I did. Okay. Same brown that I used for the other side, except for it wasn't all tangled in a knot when I did the other side. Oh, and she also... This one is also going to have eyelashes, so I'll show that too, I guess. But first... Oh, I guess I could tie this off first. After I get this done, the body part, the rest should really be pretty straightforward because it's just the hair for each one. Although the hair is pretty tedious to do, it's not, like, challenging. So it really, in theory, shouldn't take that long to do. And also, the raincoat for each doll. And the little satchel that she comes with. Okay, eyebrow time. I would say maybe like mapping out the face isn't really always necessary, but it does make making the face a lot easier. And it also helps you make sure that everything is even. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to give her her nose. I was looking at her and thinking, why does she look so weird? It's also because she doesn't have eyelashes yet, but it's because I didn't give her a nose. Let me make sure I actually am using the correct shade of yarn. Sometimes when I work late at night, I have a light on my desk, but the plastic over it is so old that it has a yellow tint to it, even though the desk itself, like the light, is a white light. And so it distorts the color of everything that I'm working on. So if I want to see the true color of the yarn, I have to get up and turn the overhead light on, which, not gonna lie, kind of annoying, especially when I put on my pets to sleep and then they suddenly think it's time to be awake again. I'm like, nope, sorry, you're not coming out of your cage. Actually, it's time for bed. I just can't see what I'm doing. And on one of the projects that I just finished for one of the students at the school my mom works at, she asked me to make her a giraffe holding a can of Dr. Pepper. And I was like, strange request, but sure, I can make it if that's what you want. It'll be ready for you when school starts again. Because she asked me at the last school year when there was 3 days of school left, and I'm like, unless I grind and hustle, you're not getting it in 3 days, sorry. So she's gonna get it when school starts again. But because I was crocheting at night with my yellow tone light on, I almost finished off the can with light green yarn instead of silver, or gray, I suppose I should say, because my desk light made them really look the same, and I was like, wait a dang minute, this doesn't look right. So when I got up to check, it's because the yarn was green. Okay, Coraline's looking a little bit like Caillou right now, but don't worry, we're gonna fix that soon. Let me find my black yarn. I'll be right back. So for this detail, I'm not gonna work with the yarn this thick because I don't want it to, like, she has caterpillars on her face. I'm gonna split this in half. Well, I was gonna do it until it ties itself in a knot. I'll come back to that. This should be enough for both eyes. This I don't really have to map out because it's pretty self-evident where it goes. I will fix this, I promise. I'm just going to do it at the end because I'm going to have to put pins in it to hold it where I want it, and I just don't want to have to work around the pins. Okay, I don't know how much of this you'll probably get to watch because I might have to turn her in some weird angles to get this to work out. So if it just cuts off abruptly, I'm sorry. I don't think at that point, if it happens, I will have not thought that this would be profitable to watch. But it's pretty simple. Just this, I feel like the face details are really what makes the project come to life, or come to life, like come together, right? So those are her little eyelashes, and then when this is glued out of the way, yeah, she'll look try to match it on both sides. which sometimes is hard to match it on both sides because sometimes the stitches are not in the same spot on both sides. Like if the work, it's just because the way the work is, like you see how this is kind of swirled where the decreases are to make the head smaller. The stitches are not always stacked up exactly on top of each other, so sometimes what's in the middle of one stitch might have to be, you know, split between the post, like I was talking about earlier, of 2 stitches, which is partially what mapping out the face helps with. But at this point, even if things were in the wrong spot, I wouldn't have had a chance to fix them because the eyes are already in and I can't take them out. Well, I could if it was that, you know, that bad. Like if the eyes were crooked, then yeah, I would have to take them out and fix them. But I didn't have to do that. I think some people sometimes are really astounded that I don't charge very much for the things that I make. It's because this is not my job. And I think anybody who thinks that crochet was ever meant to be a career has only kind of fooled themselves. Like I was saying earlier, if it wasn't in such, maybe, sorry, you didn't deserve that. Maybe not like popular demand. If it wasn't so, what's the word? If it wasn't so widely available, you know, I think more people would be a bit more understanding of the price that these kinds of things cost. Also, I think that's part of, no, I don't think. I know what goes on in my own brain. That's why when I hosted my craft fair, I was really hoping that no beginner crocheters contacted me. Not because I don't think anybody deserves a chance, right? Like everybody deserves the chance to succeed, but it's because some people, like, let's be honest, when I first started crocheting, my first plushie I made was terrifying, like I said, I'm pretty sure in this video. And nobody would ever pay for that. But I would have been bummed at the thought of nobody buying it because I was so excited to have made it. But now looking back in retrospect, nobody would have bought that piece of garbage because that's what it looked like. It looked like trash. And so that is why, if any beginning crocheters would have contacted me, I would have been really hard pressed to say no, depending on the quality of their stuff. If their stuff looked high quality for just being beginners, then I probably would have said yes. Anyway, this is her face. Honestly, I might take out the eyebrows and move them higher. I don't like how they're that close to the eyelashes. I think I'm gonna do that actually. So that should be no issue. And I'm sure that there's gonna be plenty of room between her forehead and where the eyebrows are. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But I'm gonna move the eyebrows up a little bit. Okay, I'll be back with whatever's next. Hopefully. This should allow me to just pull them right out. Maybe. Hold on. Uh-oh. Oh wait, I forgot that I had it looped around right here. Duh, of course I can't pull it around. Just pull it right out if it's looped like that. The same on this side. Oh no, why'd I do that? So that's why I wanted to put the pins at the end, because sometimes my brain doesn't work and I pull the wrong ones out. Trust me, I'm a professional, I promise. Now. There. Okay. So the eyebrows are just gonna get moved higher. Then this doll, at least the body of it, will technically, look how bald she already looks again with no eyebrows. That is so funny. Then, after I fix that, this doll will be done body-wise. It'll be just the accessories. I'm almost there. Okay. Better? Yes, much better. I think after this, I'm gonna take a break from the hair. Or from the bodies. I'm tired of looking at this. You know? So I'm gonna take a break from her and move on to her accessories. And I think making the handbag, the satchel thing, will be a nice change of pace. Oh, I was like, there was something else I was gonna do with her though before. Oh, by the way, don't worry. I know I said I was gonna put these skewers in here. All the points do get cut off at the end. Nobody's gonna get stabbed, okay? I am very careful about that because although I said I don't make my things for children, sometimes they do go to children and I want children to be safe. And safety eyes aren't, speaking of getting stabbed, I just stabbed myself in the arm with the other end that doesn't even have the point on it. But I would rather myself get stabbed than the client, of course. But, like I was saying, safety eyes, which is what these plastic eyes are called, are not recommended for children under a certain age because even though it's hard to pull them out, it's not impossible. And they can very possibly be... What the heck? They very well can be a choking hazard if a child gets one in their mouth. So I pull it down just until it disappears into the head. And then I push it down a little. So when I push it back into the body, it's completely hidden. So this is out a little further than I would typically pull it. Then I use these jewelry pliers because they have like the metal cutting part. Now obviously this is not metal. And then just push it back in there. And now it's completely hidden and she's no longer a bobblehead. So when these dry, I will take them out and her face will be done. Actually, I could just use this. Okay, moving on. You want to see them side by side? Oh, also, I'm probably cut it out because I would not risk damaging anybody's eardrums like that. But my keyboard fell on the floor while recording this, and it made the loudest noise ever. Cute. person I'm making these for is watching this video. Please do not get offended by what I'm about to say. I cannot wait for these to be done. The construction of this coat, this jacket, is taking way longer than I thought it would. I don't know why. Well, for one, it's because I won't work on it consistently. But that's because doing single crochet back and forth, which is what this is boring. This is going to be the hood, and I have to bring it up to a certain height, fold it together, and then stitch it closed, and this will be my hood. This reminds me a lot more of Little Nightmares than it does of Coraline. I'm almost there. I only have 4 more rows, or 3 once I finish this one. Then I'm saving the hair till the very end. I was a little traumatized by the last time after I messed up the entire doll I had just spent so hard working on. Their hair will be done last. Otherwise, it's going very well. I don't understand what's going on with this hood. Why is it so big? Like, I understand that Coraline has a big ol' head according to this pattern. Like, I see the idea that's going on here is that this part's gonna come up and then I'm gonna connect them like this, and it's gonna form a circle of sorts. This is... I feel dumbfounded right now. My flabbers are gasted. I don't know why this is throwing me for such a loop. It's like I've never crocheted a day in my life before. And now I don't know which round I'm on anymore. Hold on. Okay, I'm on round 5. Or, these are rows, actually. But if I do it that way, I don't... Look, let's say, hypothetically, this part has already extended the 10 rounds I have to do after this, and then I connect it this way. If I only do the single crochet around the outside that the pattern is telling me to do, when these 2 parts come together, there's going to be a hole right here. So then I would have to come through and sew it anyway, which wouldn't be an issue. That'd be really easy, but like, there was a really easier way to make a hood. You could just make a semicircle and sew it to the coat. I could have already had these done by now. Which I would do if I hadn't already done this much of it and do not want to take this apart at all. I'm not interested in frogging my work. Yes, it is called frogging. I think most people say because when you pull the yarn apart really fast, it sounds like it's making a ribbit sound. And so they call it frogging. I am not interested in frogging today. I'm interested in getting this done. Like, at this point, I might as well just went down to Hobby Lobby and bought yellow fabric and, like, sewed an actual raincoat and put a real zipper on it for the amount of effort that's going into this. But it's not that serious. Also, I take my earbuds out when I record for YouTube because I feel like otherwise I'm just screaming at the camera. Even though it's sitting right in front of me. But I mostly crochet with earbuds in, because I usually watch YouTube while I crochet. And sometimes I forget that crochet sounds, like the yarn sounds so weird when it moves. Why is the hood 2 times bigger than the coat? What is going on? Try to zoom out so we can see the whole thing. See if we can even reach this. Okay, this is 0.5. What is this? Why is this? Like, in theory, I get it. And I see the vision. This is so much unnecessary work. And I'm going to show you what I was talking about. So, well, I can't because it would be... Anyway, you see how this is the shape of her head is obviously a circle, right? Oops, sorry. I did not mean to go to 0.5. I just can't reach the button. Or, sorry, that was not 0.5. That was times 5 magnification. Excuse me. Get off the body. So, obviously her head is round. Right? So I could have just replicated this shape, the round shape that we have going on here, until like halfway. But I could have made it bigger. And instead of it being a semicircle this way, like a hat, I could just sew it to the back of the coat and it would be this way. And come up around her head. And she's still bald. She still looks like a bow, like a steamed pork bun. Those actually sound pretty good right now. Anyway, yeah. I'm not saying that the pattern is dumb. I think this is actually a very creative way to make a hood. It's a lot of extra work that's not necessary. But I get it. I do. Before I move any further with this, we are going to try this on and make sure it actually fits. Now that I see... Hold on, let me do 0.5 and not accidentally do 5. Zoom in again. I'm saving the hair until the end, like I said, for a few reasons. One, because I don't want to deal with making hair right now. But I might switch to doing hair, just because I don't want to work on this coat again either. Okay, that's kind of cute actually. But this was still, obviously she needs her hair. It was still really convoluted. You know what I wish I had? Those little, like, long beads for... I don't know what they're called. They have a specific name for them. I'm going to have to put a picture of them on screen. The long beads that, like, yeah, you'll see. I would put one right here in the middle to keep this closed, but since I don't have any, that will not be happening. Oh, she needs her bag. Let's pretend for a second she's not bald. Okay. Give her little bag. Oh my gosh, okay, adorable. Almost done. I think I'm gonna have to take notes in the future if I ever come back to this pattern, because I was right and I just don't want to forget. I have decided that, well, you know how I said that I was just gonna do 20 and that it was gonna shorten it up to the right length of hair. I was correct. 20 is the perfect size. And I'm not going to do every stitch like I did last time. That's how I ended up with so many strands of hair that I had to cut some of them off and hide them. I'm going to do every other stitch all the way around. That should give me plenty to go around the head and also to have some to lay over in the front to kind of hide this bald-ish area in the middle. And to be honest, this is probably the last video update I'm going to do of these until the end when they're done. So after this segment of video should be the end. I don't know what it is about these patterns that I just do not want to sit and work on them. But I'm making myself lock in. Okay? And I'm going to get these done. So if I hold this up to where it would be attached on the head, I'm going to bring it down without stretching it. Because sometimes to make things longer you can kind of, you know, pull on the yarn to stretch them out. But without stretching them, it only comes down to there, which is going to be the perfect length to make her little bob that she has, instead of them being like way down here. I'm very excited to see these come together. It took me a long time to get this hair situated to where it looked decent. And I'm not gonna lie. Oh, I'll fix that. Don't worry. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna fix any bald spots. I just had to get the hair laid down to start with. Miss Ma'am did still not have enough hair. I had to go back through and I had to make 5 extra strands of hair and put them in. But you can't tell where they are, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Well, no, you can't tell where they are, but I can. So this Coraline doll is technically finally done as soon as I take all my pins out, because you can't have them. Anyway, past the challenges of the hair, which I really should have bought that tool I saw at the craft store for taking out pins. I wonder if it's still there. Did I say craft store? No, it's a craft tool at a thrift store. Anyway, because it's made for taking out pins instead of having to do it with your fingers. It was like a wooden handle and a bronze rod, and it had notches cut into it at the very tip of the rod. So you could just scoop it under. I think it's made more for like the ball-tipped pins, like this type of pins, because you could just catch it with your thumb and pull it out, versus these. Sometimes the glue on the inside of the work makes a cast on the pin, so I have to use pliers to get them out. And that's, you know, fun. I'm gonna go through and fix that. Don't worry, you won't be able to see that by the end. I think I'm gonna use... They're also easier to take out when my nails aren't so long. This one broke off the other day, picking up my dog, of all things. Anyway. You know what? I'll just take him out. I'll put him in the thing at the end.